Good morning. It's a Monday morning today, and I decided to come into the office to talk about a tool that many of us need to probably use more than we do, especially in this business. Of course, I'm talking about the telephone. I get a lot of people ask me about technology. I'm really a geek when it comes to recruiting. I like to evaluate different software applications that can make our life easier. I think at my company we have just about every type of recruiting and sales tool that you can think of, from aggregators to mobile apps to of course, job boards, to search functions, to lead generation tools, different ATS add-ons. But I'm still one of these guys that really believe the number one tool that you use in our business, especially in the recruiting business, is the telephone. And before we get going, I am an old guy. I've been in this business for 22 years, 44. But there are certain things that I do believe that are old school when it comes to this business, and that is to get on the phone, to set appointments, to contact and call on candidates as much as possible, to go down call lists. Of course, I believe in text and email as well, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. And for those of you that like to talk about, how much they're on their cell versus, your regular phone, I don't really care about that. I'm here to talk about just using the phone to get people submitted and to generate meetings with clients so you can get job orders. More often than not, I'm hearing more and more people talk about, the fact that they don't use their phone as much as they use their email and text. And yes, I believe that you should always use email. I believe you should text whenever you have texting capability. But I also believe that you need to follow up on emails and texts with phone calls. And the phone calls should be probably an even ratio to what you do from an email and text perspective. There's just some things that you can't get from the email text. You can't get the tone, you can't get the excitement, the personality, that you get with the phone call. So that's really the number one thing I wanted to talk about today. I don't really have any additional stuff to speak of. I just wanted to stress on the importance of picking up the phone, especially whenever you're talking about candidates. There are a number, as you know, if you've been in this business for a while, there are a number of competitors in this business. And as a recruiter, you can't afford to just call a candidate and wait for them to give you a call back. You probably need to call them and leave them a message, and then you probably need to call them a few more times throughout the day if you can't get in touch with them. Of course, you can send them an email, send them a text, but you need to add those phone calls to it. From a client perspective, if you have something important to talk to a client about, there is no substitute for getting on the phone and calling them, especially if you have issues with clients. Don't ever try to resolve an issue just using an email. It's amateurish, and it makes you look like you're a frightened child instead of a professional that can speak directly to someone. Honestly believe the best way to schedule meetings is to get on the phone, contact someone, leave them a message if you can, follow up with email, but use the phone. I know that there's kind of a standard in our business. I talk to a lot of competitors and people that have that are interviewing, because we're always looking for good recruiters and good salespeople. And the norm that I'm seeing right now is around 50 phone calls a day is the norm. That's our benchmark here. There are exceptions if you have somebody that spends a lot of time, on site at a client, from an account management perspective. I completely understand that. But when you're building your business, when you don't have a lot of requirements, when you don't have a lot of meetings, you need to get your ass on the phone. I mean, it's the same thing in recruiting. I mean, when you're starting out, you don't got a big pipeline. Let's say you start a new job. you need to get your ass on the phone and talk to candidates and build that pipeline, build those relationships. It's just so important and in our business. And I'm primarily doing this video today is kind of public service to some of you out there that are average or below average performers. The common theme that I see with people that don't have a number of big clients to service, to be out on site and servicing those clients, is that a lot of those individuals that are average or below average, they don't make a lot of phone calls. They don't call a lot of candidates on the recruiting side. If they're on the sales side, they don't call enough people to schedule meetings. And even when some of these individuals have clients and good clients, they're not calling enough people within the organization. So that's my tip for today. I've actually written a previous blog article that I'll allude to in this video, but I've actually touched on this subject before, and I feel strongly about it. So the best advice I can give to some of you is, especially if you're not at your numbers, is just, man, get on the phone and try to make things happen. I wish you the best of luck.